Management 106, Project 3, Food Systems Review on New Zealand veal by Benjamin Dodson. Why did I choose this topic? I chose to do my presentation on New Zealand veal as at the time I was writing this I found an article on stuff.co.nz about New Zealand veal and why New Zealanders should embrace it and consume it, written by Thomas Heaton. I myself have never personally eaten veal. It is not readily available to the New Zealand public unless you purposely go looking for it, essentially. It is not available on countdowns on iShopping. I don't think it's available at New World Lincoln, so it's quite hard to get unless you know where you're looking. Also, I never have eaten veal because I personally live on a lifestyle block with about 50 sheep, so we eat a lot of our own meat. Veal is the meat of a calf, usually from a dairy cow that is born essentially just so we can milk the cow. They are usually male, as the male calves do not have much worth in the dairy industry as due to advances in artificial insemination. The dairy industry does not require male calves, and that unless they become dairy beef, they are just used as veal. A calf born for veal is usually separated from its mother after a minimum of 4 days and is then sent to the freezing works where it is sorted and turned into veal meat, essentially. There's about a 50-50 split between calves that become veal and then the other half of them either become dairy beef, as I mentioned earlier, or they become the replacement heifers to replace their mothers, essentially, when they get too old for milking. Veal in the New Zealand diet is very limited. We have exported $115 million worth of veal overseas in the last 5 years, but during the same period we imported $13 million worth of Australian veal. So it is interesting to see that although there's a market overseas for veal, that there is not much of a market in New Zealand, and despite that we still bring in veal to New Zealand. Veal is usually used in animal foods such as cat food and dog food, but is also able to be consumed by humans, whether it is in a patty or just in a piece of meat. We should eat veal as it is an inevitable byproduct of the dairy industry, that without calves there is no milk, that unless in the next few years there's a major breakthrough in the genetics of cows to make them milk without having to produce calves, that we're still going to end up with calves. So is it not worse to just not eat the calves? That despite New Zealand's taboo around eating baby animals, whether it's baby cows or baby chickens or whatever, that is it not worse to just not eat the byproduct of one of our biggest industries in New Zealand, that despite the massive exports compared to the imports, that New Zealand could cut out the imports altogether and just consume our own veal, and that would require a big change in the New Zealand perception of the veal industry, as there's been some bad publicity around the treatment of bobby calves, with videos surfacing the last couple of years of calves being just thrown into the back of vehicles and back of trucks and not treated well, which is the big kind of speed bump New Zealand has to get through, that to not treat the veal industry as the eating of baby animals and rather as of the eating of meat, which is the big barrier that goes through in the veal industry. Citations: Countdown, Dairy New Zealand, and the article by Thomas Heaton, written this year.